Hi, welcome. My name's Jane. So today we're going to go back to basics Pilates. So let's think first of all what Pilates is. Pilates is all about engaging your core, your pelvic floor muscles, working your back, working on flexibility, your posture, and just general body awareness. So let's start off first of all with a basic principle, lateral thoracic breathing. Alright, what is that? It means breathing in your ribs, trying to breathe sideways laterally rather than sort of breathing belly breath. So I want you to place your hands on your ribs and just take a breath in and out. And watch my hands as I breathe in and breathe out. So as I'm breathing in, that rib cage is expanding, my fingers are expanding, and as I breathe out, they're coming together again. So have a go again. Breathing in, breathing out. However, make sure when you're breathing in, you're not doing this. So maybe practice it in front of a mirror a few times, and it's good to have hands on, because then you can feel where you're supposed to be breathing. Okay, so try it again. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so that's our breathing. Now, neutral spine. So your neutral spine is when your back's not flat and it's not arched. Now, we're all slightly different body shapes. So some people have quite a sort of a flat back. Some people have what we call a lordotic back, so like that, bum sticking out, big curve. And other people are quite kyphotic, they're rounded in that upper back. So we're all different, but we can all find our own neutral spine. Now again, we're going to do this in several positions. So standing first of all, I want you to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your back. And just tilting your hips forward and back. So I'm not bending from the knees and ankles, I'm just doing a little rock from my pelvis. So imagine you've got a big bowl of water. You're going to tilt that water to the front and then tilt that water to the back. So just rocking your hips forward and back. And then find where you think your halfway point is. And that's your neutral spine. So another way we can find that is on our hands and knees. So again, I want you to think tilting your hips forwards and back. Again, you may need to use a mirror to help you do this one. So please note, I'm not bending here, I'm not bending from my arms, I'm just tilting and tucking my tailbone, so here in my pelvis. So I'm making a little dip in my back, and then I'm rounding my back. So imagine you're letting your tummy drop, and then you're sucking your tummy in. Find halfway, and that's your neutral spine. So let's do that now on our back. So we always start, pretty much most exercises, by finding our neutral spine. So a lot of the time we start with those feet on the floor. We're going to have a little gap between our feet and knees. So you're lining up ankles, knees and hips. Place your hands on your hips. And again, let's just have a little rock forward and back. So if I move this arm out the way, hopefully, you can see, I'm rocking forward and back, walking from the pelvis again. So 1 minute, I've got an arched back. You might not see that on the picture, but let me show you with my arm. I can actually get, see, most of my arm underneath. And then I'm going to flatten that back, and now I can't get anything underneath. So we want to find halfway. So that's my halfway point there. I can get my fingertips in, but I can't get the whole of my arm in. So I like to think of it as a little gap, just big enough for a piece of paper. Of course, we're all going to be slightly different. But you find where your neutral spine is. So you're not arching your back, you're not flattening your back, just a tiny little gap. You can imagine you've got a ruler balanced across those hip bones, so they're nice and level. Another way we can do this is if you make a diamond or a triangle shape with your fingers and thumb, place your heel of your hand on your hip bones, and your fingertips are just resting on that pubic bone, so that bone down there. Again, as you rock your hips forward and back, you can see fingers pointing up to the ceiling, fingers pointing down to the floor, finding halfway our neutral spine and its level. So there we have the Pilates basics, your neutral spine, your thoracic breathing. Now pelvic floor. So what is your pelvic floor? Your pelvic floor muscles are basically what hold everything in underneath. So they hold in your womb if you're a woman, they hold in your bladder, so everything underneath. So if you imagine you're desperate for the loo, and you're sort of squeezing in, trying to hold it all in, those are your pelvic floor muscles. Now for blokes, I like to say, imagine you're walking into a cold sea, and you suck up and in. Ladies, imagine you're desperate for the loo, and again, you've got to squeeze so you're desperate for that loo. Again, imagine you don't want to let out a fart. So, again, you're just closing all exits. So, ladies, we have 3 exits. So, think about closing all passageways underneath. Now, you shouldn't be able to see you doing this. So, if I see you sort of, you're working too hard. It's a gentle engagement. 30%. So, let's think about this. Imagine you've got a lift. There's 3 levels on that lift. So we're going to pull in as tight as you can, draw up and in, let it down, and release. So we're just drawing up to that first level. So a gentle engagement, 30% engagement. You can always put your hands underneath if you're not sure whether you're working these or not. But another way you can do this is, again, find those hip bones, place your hands across your belly, press in quite hard, and then give me a little cough. Did you feel those muscles? So those muscles are called your transverse abdominis, TBA. They work across here. And they also work in conjunction with your pelvic floor muscles. So if you're not sure if you're working your pelvic floor muscles, you could always do this and see, can you feel those muscles working? So just try now, engaging your pelvic floor, or imagine you're just tightening a belt an extra notch here. And hopefully you can feel a little bit of tension. You might find it easier finding that on the floor. So let's try that on the floor. So, line everything up. Find that neutral spine. Hands on your hip bones. Fingers resting on your tummy. Press in, nice and relaxed. Now think about drawing in your pelvic floor muscles to that first level on the lift. 30% engagement. You should feel just a little bit of tension under your fingers. Don't worry if you can't. You're also just drawing in that pelvic floor muscle underneath. So these are just ways you can maybe check for yourself whether it's working. And again, another way you can check whether you're working your pelvic floor muscles is when you're going to the toilet, see if you can stop and then go again. So don't do that regularly though, but you're just working, yes, that's my pelvic floor muscles, the muscles that stop the urine coming out. Okay. Another way we can work our pelvic floor muscles and check things is to lie on your tummy, and that often gives you a better feedback. Now often I say draw your tummy in away from the floor, so that does not mean lifting your tummy off the floor. So you're lying on your tummy here, and your tummy's resting on the floor, your skin will still be touching the floor, but imagine you're drawing your tummy muscles in away from the floor, so you can feel a little engagement. And sometimes people will find that's more helpful to find that muscle lying on your back. Again, you can put your hand under your tummy and see if you can draw your tummy muscles in, feel it. So that's some very basic Pilates pulls. Let's have a look at a very basic Pilates exercise now. So I'm going to show you slightly around this way. So you can see I've lined up my ankles, my knees and my hips. That little rock, find that neutral spine. I think about engaging my pelvic floor muscles or tightening that TBA muscle, 30%. Shoulders nice and relaxed, just breathing into the sides of your ribs. Take a breath in, let's lift your right leg. Now keep breathing, but we're just going to hold it there. So our legs at 90 degrees, our knees above our hip. So this is our basic position, our starting position for a lot of the Pilates exercises. Check your back's not arched. So again, I haven't done that. You can see there, big gap, no gap. And just breathe. So practice that lateral thoracic breathing. next breath out, float your leg back down. So it's all about slow, controlled movements. So imagine a balloon attached to your big toe. Take a breath in as it floats up. Hold it there, just breathing in and out. You might want to count 10 breaths or about 30 seconds. And then lower it back down. So as I said, that's a very basic exercise. We would then add on from that, so you might stretch the leg forward, you might circle the leg, move it out to the side, but we always come back to this sort of tabletop position here. So we don't want to bring the knee in over our chest, knee always above your hip. So if you want to come and join a Pilates class, do let me know. We do some online, we do some live, plenty of classes. Get back to basics, come and join me.